Ukrainian MP, Sophia Fedyna, who's joining us on the broadcast. We appreciate you taking out the time and joining us here on CNN News 18. I want to first understand that how do you see the visit of US President Joe Biden at a time when we are inching close to that one-year mark of Russia's invasion to Ukraine?
Thank you for covering the situation. And I would mark the first thing that Joe Biden's visit, it was totally unexpected for Ukrainians, even for MPs. And this is a great sign of support for Ukrainian society and Ukrainian fight against Moscow aggression. This is not only the moment when he said that he is bringing more military help and more sanctions were announced against Moscow Federation, but actually this is a question when the Ukrainian people know that they are not alone in their fight. And as we know, this is also a strong message to all the democratic world, to the Western democracy, first of all, but also for all the countries that do not support tyranny and unprecedented aggression, that they have to unite their efforts to help Ukraine to withstand Moscow aggression and finally to make the Moscow Federation to the responsibility what it did.
Right. Sophia, we'll just request you to stay on with us. We also have our colleague Zaka Jacob now joining us from our newsroom. Zaka?
I think it's a significant visit, this. The American president standing side by side with the Ukrainian president in the presidential palace. And remember, this was the place that was being bombed exactly a year ago. This is the 1-year anniversary, as it were, since this war began. And I think a lot of things have changed in this last 1 year. People thought that Zelensky would fold, that he would run away. Or that he would be eliminated. He's still here. He's standing with the American president, eye to eye, shoulder to shoulder. This message of solidarity is going to ring through capitals around the world. It's going to be very closely followed in Moscow, not the very least, in Beijing, here in Delhi, in London, Paris, wherever it is. Also Biden committing to another additional $500 million of aid to Ukraine. We don't know the details of it, but I think the figure that he used, about 700 tanks being given to Ukraine from different countries, I think that number is staggering in and of itself. Ukraine has been asking for fighter jets. The Western view so far is the fighter jets are not going to help in any way to help for that spring assault that everybody's talking about. I think, if one of the ideas, of course, like I said, as a photo op, as symbolism, this is great. But if one of the ideas behind this visit is also try and put some seeds of doubt in the mind of Vladimir Putin and his Russian generals before that spring offensive, that America's commitment, the West's commitment to Ukraine is unwavering, I think this will definitely sow those seeds of doubt. Ultimately, look, this war has now ground to a stalemate, particularly in the east, in places like Bakhmut, in other places in the Donbass. I think it's very clear that something's got to give. The question is what? I think by reaching Kiev and by giving this almost unequivocal message of support to Vladimir Zelensky, I think the American president is sort of signaling that we're not going to see any kind of a ceasefire, at least certainly not in terms that are acceptable to Russia anytime soon. This war is only going to end one way, and that is if Putin decides to stop the war because he's simply not going to be able to achieve a victory, an outright victory, given the current sort of stalemate that we're seeing. Sophia is still with us. Sophia, so in terms of messaging, clearly this is a great photo opportunity. This is full of symbolism. Your president and the president of the United States standing side by side in your presidential palace. But how may this translate on the ground in terms of the war effort? Everybody's talking about this imminent spring offensive. How will this change materially the stalemate that we're seeing on the ground and have seen for the last few weeks now?
First of all, I disagree with you that we do have a stalemate on the Bakhmut and Soledar dimension. Actually, Ukrainian soldiers are keeping their defense against Moscow aggression, and we are awaiting for the approach of the military help from our Western partners. And I think with this visit, Joe Biden has shown the possibility for us to get as soon as possible everything we need, and especially anti-rocket systems and
All right, we'll try and see if we can connect back with Sophia, the member of parliament from Ukraine. But like I said, the fact that Joe Biden went to the tomb of the fallen soldiers, marked his respects to the Ukrainian soldiers who have died. All right, Sophia is back with us. Yes, continue, please.
Hi, yes, I'm here. If to talk about how it's been perceived on the ground, I might say that I'm sorry, something is going wrong with the internet.
Go on, we can hear you now, yeah.
For the society, it's very important, as today we have a very symbolical date. 9 years ago, in 2008, 10 years ago, in 2014, that was a day of the big losses on the Revolution of Dignity. More than 117 people died just because of the peaceful protests in Kiev. For all the Ukrainians, this is a day where we mourn together and where we take our strength to go on with the fight for our democratic land. For military people that are on the ground, it means immediate supplies. And of course, it is the message for Putin that it's better to stop. It's better not to attack Ukraine, as the democratic world is united together to withstand Moscow aggression.
The U.S. president did mention that there's going to be additional $500 million of aid. We don't know, what material form that's going to take. I know the Ukrainian side has been asking for fighter jets. The West hasn't come to a conclusion where fighter jets need to be given to Ukraine at this stage of the war. How do you see the needle of this war itself moving in a significant way in the next few days and weeks? Because, like I said, it seems like it's a stalemate over the last few weeks.
Ukrainian army is growing, and we are taking any effort to get rid of the Moscow occupant on our land. What we are lacking, it's not just a question of jets, because not always we have a possibility to.
All right, I think we've lost that audio line with Sophia. We'll try and see if we can go back, but these are images from. All right, Sophia is back.
This is a symbol for us, everything what we have. We need all the necessary elements for Ukraine, for artillery that we have on the front line. We need the weapon that could be used immediately.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Sophia there, Member of Parliament from Ukraine, as you see these live pictures of the tribute by the US President and the Ukrainian President reaching the tomb of the fallen soldier. Remember, we don't have an official account of how many Ukrainian soldiers have died, but that number could be well in the thousands since this war began a year ago. So high on symbolism. In terms of substance, $500 million has been committed, but I think the message is very clear, and that's the attempt, or at least that's one of the attempts through this visit. The message to Moscow is clear that the Western world, America, its European partners, are not giving up on Ukraine just yet. In fact, they're redoubling their support to Ukraine in this one-year week, as it were, of the Ukrainian war, of the Russian invasion into Ukraine. And whether or not that sows the seeds of doubt in Vladimir Putin's mind, and whether or not that may deter him and his forces from launching this imminent spring offensive, we'll wait and see. But I think for now, this is a very, very significant moment in this last 1 year of this war.